Hello, today we are going to talk about the money queen Namaah and perform channeling for one client of mine and one friend of mine. So, we are going to talk about the money queen Namaah first in order to familiarize the entity with the audience. Namaah is the demonic queen which rules the first level of dark energy, known as Nahimot. And that is the level of dark energy closest to the material plane. Namaah is the spirit of money, spirit of wealth, and spirit of possessions. It is the entity which correlates to well being in a material realm, pleasures, sadism, and masochism in the sense of behavior. Okay? So her power is primarily related to the elements of fire and earth. She is really skilled in financial matters and skilled in the matters of teaching you how to be attractive and are alluring. She is also extremely good in making physical body stronger, teaching arts of psychic vampirism and soul travel. Now, fundamentally, what needs to be done is we need to basically understand the nature of the dark energy slash genic energy. That energy is really dense and really intense and draining. It is the energy which correlates to fundamentally understanding of the world and the material plane. Now I am going to channel Namaah for the client and then absolve and analyze the information. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barhami Balgatam Taran Mardar Marjal Narka Barga Shal Mashkati Tat Falot Farshankar Kati Marshalak the Crash Kasmas Billet in the Rata Gidia Shamzia Gozimia Zimia Gadba Mashgugaluza Gabara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazema Jaladia Biaj. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barhami Balgatam Taran Mardar Marjal Narka Barga Shal Mashkati Tat Falot Farshankar Kati Marshalak the Crash Kasmas Billet in the Rata Gidia Shamzia Gozimia Zimia Gadba Mashgugaluza Gabara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazema Jaladia Biaj. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barham Velgadam Duran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that the Lord Rangara the Marjal the Garagas Mas Billy the Gidia Zimia Zimia Gadba Margil Zakabara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjal Vadia Viaj. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barham Velgadam Duran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that the Lord Rangara the Marjal the Garagas Mas Billy the Gidia Zimia Zimia Gadba Margil Zakabara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjal Vadia Viaj. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barham Melgadam Doran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Barjankara the Marjalak the Garagas was Bilet the Gidia Ramzia Zimia Zimia. Kadbaman Yolza Gabara Berujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjalat Vias. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Barham Melgadam Doran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Barjankara I call you, Namaah, by the power of Barham Melgadam Doran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Barjankara Marjalak. The great God must be listened to the Adam Diego Zimia Zimia God Mamma Yolzaka Barabirujala Wenga Yilban Mazia Marjala Rodia Viarico in a by the power of Barami Melgadam Doran Marta Marjala Gambargajal Margadia that Balon Verjankara the Marjala the God must be listened to the Gidia. Shamzia Zimia Zimia God Mamma Yolzaka Barabirujala Wenga Yilbarjala Mazia Marjala Rodia Vias. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Barhami Malgatham Noran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Varjankara the Marjalak the Gragas was Bilay the Kidiadam Diego the Miazimia God Mamajal Gambara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjal the Abiash. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Barhami Malgatham Noran Mardar Marjal Nargam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Varjankara the Marjalak the Gragas was Bilay the Kidiadam Diego the Miazimia God Mamajal Gambara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjal the Abiash. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Baram Melgadam Doran Mardar Marjal Gam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Varjankara the Marjalak the Graj God must be like the Gidi Adam Diego the Miazimia God Maman Gambara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjalat the Avias. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Baram Melgadam Doran Mardar Marjal Gam Bargajal Margadia that Valod Varjankara the Marjalak the Graj God must be like the Gidi Adam Diego the Miazimia God Maman Gambara Birujala Wenga Yel Barjalat Mazia Marjalat the Avias. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Baram. If she wishes to make a monetary pact, the terms are clear. He needs to give me his blood every week once on Thursday. And he needs to call me to the point of my fiery presence. His eyes need to be focused on his goal, razor sharp. I demand no candles, I demand no beasts, I demand no offerings of other kind, only blood. He needs to call me until he feels me. He needs to master the name of Adonai. He needs to strengthen his body and attune himself to the realms of Nahimot by the chant of Ertevatahai Alna Nahimot. He needs to raise the sacred space in the following manner. He needs to draw a circle around himself and visualize black sun above the top of his head, radiating into the edges of the circle. When the dark power starts radiating from the edges of the circle, he needs to repeat aforementioned chant until the energy of Nahimot is present. Then he needs to offer his blood to the spirits of Nahimot for 11 days in the circle with the following words. I call you spirits of Nahimoth. I call you spirits of darkness to come to me and accept my blood as a payment for your work. After this ritual is done for 11 nights, he can summon me again. After he is attuned to my spirits, he can summon me. When I am summoned with the chant Namaah Ertevataeno in the same sacred space as the previous rite, he needs to write the terms of his covenant on the paper and the my terms which I already dictated. Then he needs to tell me to consecrate the paper of the pact. After that is done, he needs to wait until I consecrate the pact. He needs to call me for 4 nights in a row to consecrate the covenant. After that is done, he needs to wrap a covenant tied with red rope and light a red candle atop of it. And let the burnt candle serve as a seal for the covenant. Then he has to hide the covenant in a designated place. He needs to master the name of Adonai first. Then he needs to call the spirits of darkness. Then he can summon me to make a pact according to the instruction we already provided. That is all I have to say regarding that man. Okay, so there were multiple things. I mean, I don't forget majority of the things I channel, but I also don't remember everything I channel right now. I'm kind of dazed. It's difficult to speak. So there's like one friend of mine also here who is not a customer, so I will try to additionally invoke Namaah to answer his questions. I will try to call her in my body again. By the power of Barhami Belgadam Duran Mardar Marjalan Gabarga Chalmashkadi that followed the Shankar the Marshalak the Krashkas must be let the Radakia Jamzia Gozimia Zimia Gadbamar Gabara Birojala Wanga Yalbajalat Mazia Marjalat Radia Viaj. By the power of Barhami Belgadam Duran Mardar Marjalan Gabarga Chalmashkadi that followed the Shankar the Marshalak the Krashkas must be let the Radakia Jamzia Gozimia Zimia Gadbamar Gabara Birojala Wanga Yalbajalat Mazia Marjalat. I invoke you Namaah by the power of Barhami Belgadam Duran Mardar Marjalan Gabarga Chalmashkadi that followed the Shankar the Marshalak the Krashkas must be let the Radakia Jamzia Gozimia Zimia Gadbamar Mergo Yarda Gamara Birojala Wanga Yalbajalat Mazia Marjalat Radia Viaj. I invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barami Melkadam Doran Mardar Marjalan Gamarga Dalmanaga, that Bolot Baranga, the Maranga, the Gragas, Milana, the Gideon, the Economia, Gadma. Marguerite, the Gamara, Berula, Wanga, Yelbana, the Marjala, the Aviar. I call you, Namaah, by the power of Barami Melkadam Doran Mardar Marjalan Gamarga Dalmanaga, the Raga, the Marjala, the Gragas, Milana, the Gideon, the Economia, the Gamara, Berula, Wanga, Yelbana, the Marjala, the Aviar. I call in my mind the power of Barami, Welcome to Run Murder, Majalan, Burger, Almer, the Dragger, the Marshal, like the Grishkas, the Gideon, the Miazian, the Marian, like a Baramir, Marshal, the Abias. I call you and invoke you, Namaah, by the power of Barami, Welcome to Run Murder. Your question is foolish to me. There is nothing about that question which intrigues me. But there is something I will tell you. More of them there is, more of them I possess. More of them I possess, the stronger is our bond. So there should be as many of them as possible. More of them you have, more of them I have. More of them you have, more of them I claim. More of them I claim, the stronger am I within you. Have as many of them as you claim. Have as many of them as you wish. There is no virtue in restraint, especially the restraint out of weakness, of those who are not willing to handle it. Be brave, claim as many as you can. Be brave, destroy them all and claim them all. Be brave and offer them to me. Offer them to me, every single one of them. Offer them to me, all of them. They will surrender to you voluntarily. You will have them, you will claim them, and I will claim them through you. You will rise, and I will rise, and all of them will rise with you and me. And everyone who says otherwise, do not understand the flames of mine, and the blood I spill with you on the ground. Do not force yourself upon them, and never try to do that. There is no need for it. They come of their own will, and they always will. They will forgive you all things as long as you hide them well.
How much blood do you want every week?
The first channeling wasn't for you. Your blood should be given voluntarily. Your blood should be given when you feel like giving it. Just like the blades you gave me and the whips you gave me and the time you gave me in the past. And you should have no time for your enemies and detractors, of those who don't understand your devotion to me and my passions. Okay, I think 2 channelings are my limit for now. 2 channelings in a single round for 2 different people. So regarding Namaah, we have to understand in a way.
We're gonna talk about demonic queen Namaah, and we are making video about it. So we're gonna start from the beginning. First, I'm gonna elaborate on my experience with Namaah. Then I'm gonna say who Namaah is and who she represents. So Namaah, according to the lore, is the mother of the giants, who waited for the watchers on Mount Hebron and copulated with them, giving birth to the giants, hybrids between angels and humans. She is a sister of Tubal Cain and the daughter of Lamech. She is known to copulate with her brother sexually and commit all kinds of heinous acts, the greatest among which is basically her copulating with the angels and seducing the angels together with Lilith. In Qliphothic lore, she is known to also be in heaven and copulate with Adam to create evil spirits. Those two seem to be contradictory narratives, considering that if Namaah was in heaven with Adam, copulating and giving birth to evil spirits, actually, I need to be more precise. According to the first narrative, Namaah wasn't in heaven copulating with Adam. She was on earth copulating with Adam after Adam and Eve broke apart for a few years. According to Kabbalah, Lilith and Namaah came to Adam every single night to copulate, and they gave birth to evil spirits while Adam was sleeping with them during the night. So, that is the story of how evil spirits are created according to Kabbalistic lore. There is also another story about Namaah waiting for the watchers and copulating with them, and being the daughter of Lamech and the sister of Tubal Cain, which are descendants of Cain the elder. So, if you don't know, in Kabbalah there are actually two Cains, two important Cains. One is a descendant of Cain, known as Tubal Cain, and another is Cain the elder, the brother of Abel, who committed the first murder. So, when I am referring to Namaah being a sister of Cain, I am referring to Cain the younger, a descendant of Cain who, according to legend, founded the first cities. Now, why are those two narratives important? So, on the surface level, narratives seem to contradict, but in a deeper esoteric level, they don't contradict at all. You see, let's talk about Namaah first and foremost. So, Namaah is, according to the lore, present, as I explained, in two different stories. One story is her and Lilith copulate with Adam to create evil spirits. And another story doesn't talk about Namaah as a demon. It talks about Namaah as a human who is born from the seed of Cain, the elder. So basically, if we wanna see what is the connection between the stories, the explanations seem to be really simple. Namaah human is an incarnation of Namaah the spirit, who copulated with Adam. So, let me explain. So, Namaah was one of the first demons given birth to by Lilith. She copulated together with Lilith alongside Adam to create even more demonic spirits. Later on, Namaah, the dark spirit descendant of Lilith, incarnated into a human body and participated in seduction of the Watchers. Now, all of this can be interpreted literally, it can be interpreted symbolically. It depends on how you want to see it. But basically, Namaah is, in the lore, one of the few demonic spirits shown to be able to physically incarnate. And one of the few demonic spirits who 100% had human connections, human lives, human life experience. And she is probably the only demon in entire Kabbalistic lore with a clear incarnation I know of into human body, into human flesh. All other spirits of Qliphoth are basically just earthbound shades, dark energies. Namaah had a clear human experience. She also ruled a Qliphothic sphere of Naamah, also known as Black Earth, the first Qliphothic sphere. Now, we have to understand what Qliphothic spheres are. Qliphothic spheres are, contrary to popular belief, not necessarily words. They are not words, not worlds. Instead, they are levels of energy. So, according to Kabbalah, there are two different aspects of God creation. The right side, or Sephirotic tree, and the left side, known as other side, or Qliphotic tree. Qliphotic tree represents everything which is impure and dark, while Sephirotic tree represents everything which is pure and light. Both are reflections of the divine nature. The right side of the tree, the light side of the tree, is facilitated and co-created with divine emissaries known as angels, archangels, while the left side of the tree, the dark side of the tree, is basically co-created by also angels, specifically Samael, the archangel of poison, the poison of God, Samael, who is also known as Yaldabaoth / Demiurge. So, Yaldabaoth is actually one of the titles of Samael in the Gnostic texts. So, God of Old Testament is not Yaldabaoth. Samael is Yaldabaoth. And Moses definitely didn't prophesy in the name of Samael. He prophesied in the name of Tetragrammaton, and Tetragrammaton isn't entity at all. It's a code to access the source, but that's a completely different story for another video. Let's return to Namaah. So, Namaah rules Lilith / Naamah, the first level of negative energy. And she's the only dark spirit with a clear human incarnation, according to the lore. And her existence seems to predate her human experience. Let me explain. So, as I said earlier, Namaah was first impure spirit, dark spirit, together with Lilith. She copulated with Adam and gave birth to other evil spirits. And then she incarnated as a human and participated in seduction of the Watchers. We explained it previously. But now we're gonna talk after we cleared the lore. Now we're gonna talk about her lore with the Watchers. Because this seems to be a really unknown fact. So, there is a lot of pairing between Ashmedai and Namaah, and people know they are related, but the nature of the relationship is basically covered in mystery. And it took me a really long time to figure out what is a relationship between Ashmedai and Namaah. So there are many variations of this story. In some variations, they are basically couple. In another variations, they are mother and son. And I wanted to find what is the truth. I wanted to find what version of the story is more correlating with the sources, more correlating with rabbinical text, with the commentary we have surviving. And basically, the story became pretty clear as research continued. According to the lore, Namaah is not consort of Ashmedai. She is the mother of Ashmedai. Ashmedai's father is actually the Watcher, known as Shadmon or Shadmon. So I performed an experiment in which I called Shadmon to see does such a watcher exist, and I got a really powerful experience. A really destructive, warlike, angelic energy came through, and it was one of the most powerful experiences I ever had. So that way, I definitely confirmed that Namaah is indeed the mother of Ashmedai, not the other way around. So, once we cleared all of that lore of Ashmedai and Namaah, we have to basically understand what Namaah taught humanity, what one can learn by working with Namaah. We're gonna examine all of the aspects of Namaah work right now, after we covered the initial introductory lore. Well, Namaah taught people singing, dancing, sorcery, sexuality, promiscuity, and idol worship. Now, when we say idol worship, there are two aspects to that. So, we first need to understand how paganism / idol worship came to be. And that has to be covered in this video because in order to understand what is the point of idolatry and why it is forbidden, we have to understand that in order to understand what Namaah teaches. So basically, this is how idol worship originated, according to the Judaic lore. So the watcher Shemiyaza came to earth with 200 of his brothers, and he taught mankind the secret of the divine names, right? And so people started venerating those spirits. But also, what happened is Shemyaza taught people how to infuse the objects of this earth, the earthly objects, with the power of the divine names he taught them. Because remember, the fundamental lesson Shemyaza taught mankind was the secret of the divine names. That was the most powerful thing Shemyaza taught humanity. And so, basically, the thing Shemyaza taught humanity, the leader of the Watchers who came down to Earth, the leader of the so-called fallen angels, which were not fallen at all, but we're gonna talk about it in another installment of this video. Basically, the most fundamental thing he taught to all of his disciples in a spiritual sense is how to use divine names and then infuse the physical object with energy of those divine names. And then what people did later on is, after they would infuse objects with the divine names, statues with the divine names, they started venerating those statues in order to easier connect with the divine names. However, because divine energy is not meant to reside in a really limited earthly vessels, that procedure basically corrupted the power of the divine names, and it became altered, and another spirits started dwelling in those statues, and then the entire thing kind of went off the rails. And this is why idolatry is basically a bad thing most of the time, because majority of the people who were polytheists, pagans, they didn't understand that basically all of the gods they are venerating are the aspects of the same supreme energy. That wisdom is still preserved in the Vedas, but to the majority of the people who practice polytheism, they just see a bunch of isolated gods and personalities, and it's kind of funny, like invisible men and women arguing. It's really funny. But they are also, in a modern world, pagans who definitely understand that all of those spirits are part of the one whole, and they are really spiritual people, but they are a minority. Now, a lot of people will hate me for saying this, but basically, and fundamentally, that's the reason why paganism is banned in the Bible. Because people most of the time anthropomorphize those divine energies too much, and it loses point. It becomes funny. It becomes intellectually and spiritually infantile, and it basically loses the direction. So, what Watchers and Namaah fundamentally taught is how to infuse objects with the power of the divine names, which then turned into idolatry, by the way. So, after we cleared idolatry part, now we're gonna talk about Namaah teaching people singing and dancing. Now, why would that be recorded in the Bible? Obviously, there is a bunch of singers and dancers, but why would Book of Enoch, which is a text I am referring mostly in this video, talk about Namaah specifically, and her singing and her dancing? Because it doesn't talk about singing and dancing in a mundane sense. It talks about singing and dancing in the context of ritual possession and union with the darker forces through singing and dancing. So Namaah taught ritual singing and ritual dancing. That was her sham. Okay. She also taught people promiscuity and sex magic. Obviously, that is self-explanatory for anyone who did that. And she also corresponds with abortions. Now, that is fundamentally true, that Lilith and Namaah correspond to abortion, and that's something they stand for. Now, there is a aspect to that which is really controversial. Caliphatic energy is really dark, it's really intense, it's really destructive. And the majority of the women who heavily work with caliphatic energy become infertile as a consequence. The same is true for men. They kinda either lose the ability to reproduce or are not interested in reproducing. There is a connection between the two. And basically, there is also, outside of that mundane part, there is also esoteric part, which is when you work with those darker forces, it basically requires you to give energy to Citrara, to give energy to the other side in order to be empowered back. And that's a really dark, destructive, risky process, and many die. So that is also a reference to abortion in a spiritual sense. Because you can be spiritually aborted, you can be destroyed. This is a dangerous path. A really dangerous path. So we covered all of the things Namaah taught according to the lore and what it means, what Namaah can teach. She can also teach money, magic, and work with spirits of the Nephilim / giants who died in the Great Flood. But that is self-explanatory. I think in the occult community, majority of the people know that you can learn how to work with spirits of the giants who died in the flood, the Nephilim, by working with Namaah is basically self-explanatory. And for people who don't know the context, basically what happened later is after Namaah seduced the Watchers who came down to Earth, she gave birth to giants with the woman who followed her, and then God had to send the flood in order to save the life on Earth because giants were destroying everything. And so, what is the point of this tale? And that is going to be the end of this video, as far as lore is concerned. The point of the tale about Namaah is she will teach you the great knowledge. She will teach you and give you the great information. But if you abuse that information and use it to destroy life on Earth, to destroy the nature and the world around you, if you become too destructive, you will create a great flood in your life. You will kill yourself. And you will have no ark to jump in like Noah did. You will call it upon yourself and you will be destroyed. And that is the point of Namaah. Working with her is basically a two-bladed sword. It's a double sword. She will give you a really powerful knowledge, but if you use it recklessly, you can die. You can destroy yourself pretty quickly. That is the point of the story of the Watchers and Namaah and Agrat and Lilith. Everyone who caused the great flood, according to the lore, what it really means is those spirits and energies are really powerful, but if you use the knowledge they give you wrong, they will fucking cause havoc. Not because they want to destroy you, but because you basically called it upon yourself. Now, Namaah corresponds to the colors red and black. She basically is called by using red and black candles and inviting her to come by the power of the names of God. The names of God which can be used in conjuration of Namaah are Sabaoth, Adonai, and El Shaddai, in my personal experience. So, how to call Namaah? Short tutorial. You raise the sacred space by any means necessary. There are multiple ways. You can use my Black Sun meditations. You can use the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. You can pray to the source to raise the sacred space. You can cast the circle of salt. Whatever you like, right? I'm gonna upload this video together with my raising of the sacred space tutorial, so you have multiple versions. But fundamentally, you raise the sacred space first, and then you call Namaah with the following conjuration. I call you Namaah by the power of Adonai. I call you Namaah by the power of El Shaddai. I call you Namaah by the power of Sabaoth. Now, why using those three divine names? Those are three divine names whose energy is the most conducive to conjuring Namaah, in my experience. Now, basically, just for those who are not informed, the divine names are codes to the aspect of source energy. So every divine name has a meaning, and when you pronounce a divine name, you generate the energy which corresponds to that meaning. So when you are calling a spirit by the power of the divine names, you basically are giving energy to the spirit to manifest faster. That is the point. You call her by the power of those three divine names until you feel her presence with you in the circle. Now you can use the sigil of Namaah, or you can draw the name of Namaah on a piece of paper and basically just scry at it, look at it. You can use mere incense, that is also recommended. Before you do evocation of any spirit, including Namaah, and before you start the ritual, before you start the sacred space and everything, what I advise is for you to basically learn to meditate and work on your energy centers and practice daily chanting of the divine names until you learn how to generate energy by them. So you choose any divine name of your choice from the Old Testament or Quran or Bible, it doesn't matter. And then you chant the divine name as a mantra. I personally use the name Adonai mostly, but other people use other divine names. You basically chant the divine name every day until you feel and learn to generate the energy when you recite the name. When you truly unlock the divine name, as you repeat the divine name, you will feel energy rising from your mouth. Not just a sound, but a vibration, energy, force, a pulsating life, basically. So, in order to master divine name, you have to repeat it around 1,000 times a day for like 3 months. So my advice is, before you do what I recommended, call Namaah by the power of the divine names, my advice is to basically master any divine name you like for about 3 to 6 months and work on your chakras. After you do that, you will be ready to do what I said, to cast a protective circle and call Namaah by the power of divine names I mentioned earlier. Once you call Namaah long enough, sufficiently, which will usually be about a half of an hour, you will feel her presence, a really strong, powerful presence. And then my advice is to give her wine as a gift of gratitude and to invite the divine names to bless her, the divine names by which you called her. So you just say, I give you this glass of wine, Namaah, as a gift of gratitude, and I call the divine names by which I conjured you to bless you. And then you basically give her your request. It could be related to any of the things I listed: sexuality, money, or specific things she corresponds with. Work with an Nephilim, ritual dancing, ritual singing, initiation into Nahemoth/Lilith, the first degree of glyphotic energy, work with the Watchers, consecration of objects. Those are all the things the Namaah can teach. So, okay, guys, in this video, I explained in depth ritual to Namaah, how to prepare for it, and all the lore of Namaah. Just to keep things civil, what do? For about 3 to 6 months, you chant divine names daily and work on your chakras. Then, after 3 to 6 months, you call Namaah in the sacred space, in protective circle, by the power of divine names of Adonai and 2 other divine names you like. I mentioned 2 other divine names. You can use those 3 I already mentioned in the video, or you can find others you resonate with more. Any divine names would work, because you will basically generate energy for the spirit to manifest faster with those names. The spirit will come. Any divine name would suffice. But you can use the 3 I already mentioned in the video. Call Namaah by the power of those names. Once her presence is known, by pure energy pressure and shifts in the room. Give her offering of wine. Give her a blessing. Bless her by the power of the divine names you already used. Give her your request related to the things I already listed. And after that, do your ritual to her every night until your request is manifested. If you cannot handle to do it every night because Namaah's energy is really intense, do it a few times a week, as much as you can handle. In order to be able to do more rituals and to replenish yourself and your energy, my advice is to do daily chantings of the divine names, and that will make you capable of doing what I said, calling spirits more effectively. So that's all, guys. It was a little bit longer video. Talk to you soon. And I really enjoyed giving you this small tutorial and lore overview. Talk to you soon.